schools and universities have tons of buildings, facilities, assets that all need management. And these assets and buildings form a huge part of how students and learners engage and experience the institutions that they go to study. So it's very important that things work really well to provide that great learning experience, that great learning environment. If things go wrong, we need to be able to fix them and address those needs. We need to see if we can do preventative maintenance and make sure that things work like clockwork. And all of that is quite a difficult job when you consider the amount of buildings, the amount of facilities, the amount of assets that need to get managed. And this is where technology can come in and help. First of all, getting control of those assets, understanding where they are, where they're being used, whether they're in warranty, whether they have insurance, etc., and building up a history of that asset, a history of maintenance against that asset, and understanding whether we're buying the right things, whether they are working for us, and whether that we are truly seeing the life of that asset financially and in real life. We need to make sure that we're looking after assets because they form a huge part of the value of the institution. So we want to make sure that we have a good, up-to-date asset database that is reflective of what the situation looks like in reality. Then we want to start thinking about things like, how do we maintain it? What kind of life cycles or maintenance cycles need to be applied to different classes of assets and types of assets? How can we connect these assets through digital channels like Internet of Things up to very clever and sophisticated systems that are looking at and seeing whether these facilities and buildings and assets are being used in the most appropriate way, whether they're being abused, whether they are being underutilized. And so when it comes to maintenance and facilities and buildings, it's all about data and having access to data about people, how they interact with buildings, where they go, how they use these things, as well as the things themselves, from air conditioners to computers to IT equipment to the buildings themselves to plumbing, etc. There are an array of things that we need to get control of and manage and maintain all of these things. And if we can do that in a very streamlined, automated way, then it cuts down costs, it cuts down the effort that it takes to look after these things, and we spend more time preventing fires from happening than actual firefighting, and so to speak. So technology plays a big role in how we can take your campus and turn it into a digital one and say, this is where our assets are, we know the value, we know where they are, we know how they're performing, we know when they need maintenance, we know when and who needs to do it, when last they were maintained, what happened. And it's all about bringing that data together to empower people that work in facilities and assets and maintenance on solving these problems and managing their business much more efficiently. I want to talk about an abstract story that we helped out a particular university with. They had a problem around catering and around servicing students' needs. Simply put, multiple catering facilities or multiple canteens where students could eat, and thousands of students who needed to eat on a daily basis. And planning this and making sure that there's the right food for the right students at the right time and available every day was a nightmare. Without knowing where students are going to go and eat, how do you prepare for that? How do you cater for that? So what we did was we helped them with a digital solution to bring this all together that ask the student, where do you want to eat, so that they can plan for that and that they can make sure that they have the right meals and the right nutritional value for those students at the right time, and that supply could meet demand. To do that, we needed to integrate with their building management system, with their access control system, to make sure that we knew which canteens, which students were accessing which areas, and that we can control this. And when we did that, if you just think about some of the applications beyond just managing catering and streamlining costs and all those kind of things, you can think about implications in terms of security. If you had the data from access control systems and you knew that a student was on campus at night, you could make sure that maybe security was available to chaperone that student from one building to the other, to make sure that they were safe and that they looked after and cared for. So getting data about students, about how they access and use your facilities, is not only going to help you with streamlining costs, but also to provide a better experience, a safer experience for students while they're on your campus and while they're going through their journey with you.